faster, more fruitful, and as we look toward a new horizon, more competitive. So, let's talk development. As the waters of the Caribbean Sea wash our shores, so too does the state-of-the-art fast ferries in our own ATP James and Bacolet. Not only have these investments alleviated the inter-island travel circumstance, but it has also provided new ways to connect both islands in a more effective manner. Health and well-being have been treated as top priorities. The innovatively established pink and blue rooms have created safe, focused spaces on the well-being of both men and women across the island. People-centered, purpose-driven. That is your P&M administration. From Crown Point to Charlottesville, development lives. The Charlottesville Mini Mall will transform the way both local and tourists interact with and share in the Tobago experience. Positioned as a multi-tiered, multi-purpose commercial center, the mall will create a thriving business environment in the heart of Charlottesville and will manifest diverse opportunities and space for residents to realize profitable business ventures. Community centers are the live wires of communal activity on the island. With an interest in human and fiscal resource development, these centers have been spread across the island to give you more access, more avenues, and more opportunities. Our children stand at the source of our focus. From recess to success, the infrastructural investments made will transform the 21st century Tobago child's learning experience. The island's national security apparatus has seen new promise and new prominence. From foundation to finish, the new housing of Tobago's security administration, personnel, and operation have created an extended pool of access to the communities they serve and the island at large. We have developed a comprehensive plan to hone and invest in our own natural resources. Our aim is to become a leading supplier of every natural resource that can be extracted from right here on our 116 square miles. We are committed to infrastructural, technical, and human capacity development required to ensure Tobago's regional and international leadership and impact. Easy access, effective usage, and developmental actions that can stand the test of time. Our focus on public utilities articulates the core of our continued plans to ensure that our home, Tobago, is a space of value. The time ahead of us is one that will ask for us to reflect closely. And as we do, let us walk together confidently into the next season of our development. This is your Tobago. From Crown Point to Scarborough, Roxborough to Lambo, we will take Tobago further, and we will do it together. We got this. Oh, Tobago, what a wonder you are. Standing on the edge of the world, getting ready to lead the world. An island of all season, who have given us the tools, insight, foresight, and grit to make it better. Yes, bigger, better, brighter, further, faster, more fruitful, and as we look toward a new horizon, more competitive. So, let's talk development. As the waters of the Caribbean Sea wash our shores, so too does the state-of-the-art fast ferries in our own ATP James and Bacolet. Not only have these investments alleviated the inter-island travel circumstance, but it has also provided new ways to connect both islands in a more effective manner. Health and well-being have been treated as top priorities. The innovatively established pink and blue rooms have created safe, focused spaces on the well-being of both men and women across the island. People-centered, purpose-driven. That is your P&M administration. From Crown Point to Charlottesville, development lives. The Charlottesville Mini Mall will transform the way both local and tourists interact with and share in the Tobago experience. Positioned as a multi-tiered, multi-purpose commercial center, the mall will create a thriving business environment in the heart of Charlottesville and will manifest diverse opportunities and space for residents to realize profitable business ventures. Community centers are the live wires of communal activity on the island. With an interest in human and fiscal resource development, these centers have been spread across the island to give you more access, more avenues, and more opportunities. All children stand at the source of our focus. From recess to success, the infrastructural investments made will transform the 21st century Tobago child's learning experience. The island's national security apparatus has seen new promise and new prominence. From foundation to finish, the new housing of Tobago's Security Administration, personnel and operation have created an extended pool of access to the communities they serve and the island at large. We have developed a comprehensive plan to hone and invest in our own natural resources. Our aim is to become a leading supplier of every natural resource that can be extracted from right here on our 116 square miles. We are committed to infrastructural, technical, and human capacity development required to ensure Tobago's regional and international leadership and impact. Easy access, effective usage, and developmental actions that can stand the test of time. Our focus on public utilities articulates the core of our continued plans to ensure that our home, Tobago, is a space of value. The time ahead of us is one that will ask for us to reflect closely. And as we do, let us walk together confidently into the next season of our development. This is your Tobago. From Crown Point to Scarborough, Roxborough to Lambo, we will take Tobago further, and we will do it together. We got this. Oh, Tobago, what a wonder you are.
Come.
Oh God, Granny, we ain't reached yet.
Not yet.
Nah, Granny, I need to stop. It's too much.
You ain't shame. You're young and strong and can't keep up with a old woman like me.
But Granny, you're accustomed to this road. I ain't know about this.
That is why we're doing it. I tell you already, you have to learn to drive from the drivers who drove before.
Granny, but we ain't driving. We're walking. And the sun hot. I sure it have a shorter route. I fed up, Granny.
Your generation want things too fast. Change takes time. Take all your time.
When things taking long so, Granny, I just move on to the next thing. I don't have time, Granny.
You have time to listen. I want to teach you something. Come. Just look and listen. This is what I wanted you to see. This is yours, but you have to protect it and develop it. And that takes time and dedication. But when you only think about the destination, you could forget about the journey. This route ain't no shortcut. This is the only route in the right direction. Any other route, stopping short and don't know where to go again. On this route, I see what we have to protect. On this route, the path is clear. Come. Come.
It's real nice. And look where it's growing.
That is because it's not just a pretty flower. It's a symbol of perseverance, strength, and hope.
Perseverance, strength, and hope. I like that.
You see why we take this route? You think you would have seen all of this in your fancy car? You ready to go? Let's go.
But Granny, you never tell me where we're going.
To protect your future. Come on. We got this.
We got this.
We got this. Hey, we got this. Hey, hey.
Standing on the edge of the world, getting ready to lead the world. An island of all season, who have given us the tools, insight, foresight, and grit to make it better. Yes, bigger, better, brighter, further, faster, more fruitful, and as we look toward a new horizon, more competitive. So, let's talk development. As the waters of the Caribbean Sea wash our shores, so too does the state-of-the-art fast ferries in our own ATP James and Bacolet. Not only have these investments alleviated the inter-island travel circumstance, but it has also provided new ways to connect both islands in a more effective manner. Health and well-being have been treated as top priorities. The innovatively established pink and blue rooms have created safe, focused spaces on the well-being of both men and women across the island. People-centered, purpose-driven. That is your P&M administration. From Crown Point to Charlottesville, development lives. The Charlottesville Mini Mall will transform the way both local and tourists interact with and share in the Tobago experience. Positioned as a multi-tiered, multi-purpose commercial center, the mall will create a thriving business environment in the heart of Charlottesville and will manifest diverse opportunities and space for residents to realize profitable business ventures. Community centers are the live wires of communal activity on the island. With an interest in human and fiscal resource development, these centers have been spread across the island to give you more access, more avenues, and more opportunities. All children stand at the source of our focus. From recess to success, the infrastructural investments made will transform the 21st century Tobago child's learning experience. The island's national security apparatus has seen new promise and new prominence. From foundation to finish, the new housing of Tobago's Security Administration personnel, and operation have created an extended pool of access to the communities they serve and the island at large. We have developed a comprehensive plan to hone and invest in our own natural resources. Our aim is to become a leading supplier of every natural resource that can be extracted from right here on our 116 square miles. We are committed to infrastructural, technical, and human capacity development required to ensure Tobago's regional and international leadership and impact. Easy access, effective usage, and developmental actions that can stand the test of time. Our focus on public utilities articulates the core of our continued plans to ensure that our home, Tobago, is a space of value. The time ahead of us is one that will ask for us to reflect closely. And as we do, let us walk together confidently into the next season of our development. This is your Tobago. From Crown Point to Scarborough, Roxborough to Lambo, we will take Tobago further, and we will do it together. We got this.
Go.
Education, Lady Tracy, if you run the program, they're giving us chance for a better tomorrow.
Brothers and sisters, we would commence this evening's proceedings in the next 2 minutes. So I'm asking all those on the outside if you can please make your way on the inside.
No PNM ever fearless. An election, the way you go vote them. Autonomy for Tobago, my clarity. Take great control of the affairs. So you know PNM ever fearless. An election, the way you go vote them. Autonomy for Tobago, my clarity. Take great control of the affairs. Bill and Tobago together. PNM in any storm, any weather. No said them I go put you up a ladder. We boost the economy, brand new leader. Bill and Tobago together. PNM in any storm, any weather. No said them I go put you up a ladder. We boost the economy, brand new mission. Vote PNM, we a vote PNM. In a THA, we no want nobody else. PNM in a motion. PNM in a motion. Great plans for the younger generation.
And we shall prevail.
We are about to begin this evening's program, and I'm asking that you please stand for the singing of the national anthem as I invite Precious to the lectern.
Forged from the love of liberty in the fires of hope and prayer, with boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare, side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land, we pledge our life to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
Please remain standing. I call Pastor Alan Fitzwilliams to invite God's presence.
Praise the name of the Lord in this place. Come on, somebody, put your hands together for Jesus. It is a privilege to come and open this session. And I believe God has a way of working out things. But in so doing, give me just a few seconds. As I was coming here, the Lord shared something with me. So I would like to share it with you. And I know it will bless your heart before I pray. Jeremiah, chapter 1, last verse. It says, and they shall fight against thee, but they shall not prevail against thee. For I am with thee, said the Lord, to deliver thee. I'm saying to you this evening, in spite of everything, you need to trust God. And he will give us the deliverance. He will give us the breakthrough. Are you with me tonight? And so, let us go before God, eternal and most heavenly Father. As I stand this evening, Lord, I'm declaring the power of God on this campaign. I pray right now for the leader. I pray for everyone that is participating to lead in leadership. Give them the wisdom, give them the understanding. Father, this evening in the atmosphere, I come against principalities and I come against powers. I come against witchcraft and every assignment that assign to this program and that assign to this PNM, every unclean spirit, every negative spirit. Oh God, this evening, I decree and I declare victory. I decree and I declare your anointing upon your God's people, that they will make God's declaration. So I take this authority and I declare today strength. I declare today power. I declare today braveness, and most of all health. So, Father, we thank you for Mr. Jack and this program. We thank you for Mrs. Celestine and this program. We thank you for the others that are participating. Cover them with your blood. Cover them with your grace. Cover them by your power. In no other name, but in the mighty name of Jesus. God bless you.
Thank you. You may have your seat. Allow me to recognize, seated at the head table, the political leader of the Tobago Council of the PNM and your candidate and next representative for Signal Hill, Patience Hill, Miss Tracy Davidson Celestine, and of course, her husband, Mr. Wesley Celestine. Your candidate for the electoral district of Bagatelle, Bacolet, and our current Deputy Chief Secretary, Mr. Joel Jack. Your candidate for the electoral district of Scarborough, Mongrace, and your next representative, Miss Marceline Melville Jack. Your candidate as well for the electoral district of Mount St. George, Goodwood, Charles Polo Adams. I recognize as well the Member of Parliament for Tobago East. I saw her seated on the outside, the Honorable Ayana Webster Roy. I recognize our General Secretary of the Tobago Council. I recognize the Chairman of the Tobago East constituency, our candidates who are here lending support this evening, those who are viewing and listening to us on our various broadcasting platforms, members of the media, brothers and sisters of the Red Army, a special PNM good evening. Are we ready? We should be a little warmer than that. Are we ready? Bagatelle, Bacolet, who you voting for? Scarborough, Mongrace, who you voting for? On December 6th, who you voting for? We are voting for the People's National Movement. Brothers and sisters, I am Nadine Stewart Phillips, your candidate for the electoral district of Roxborough, Argyll. And it is a pleasure to take you through this evening's program. Today, brothers and sisters, all your 15 candidates in every single electoral district in this election were certified by the Election and Boundaries Commission. And I am happy to announce that we are one step closer to victory on December 6th. We have a thorough lineup of speakers for you this evening. And I need all of you to pay attention to everything that will be said on this platform, as I can assure you that the conversations would be informative, inspiring, and most of all, factual. Because in this party, brothers and sisters, we are not about games, we are not about old talk. The policies and work of every successive PNM administration speak for itself. And you will hear of our journey in governing the island over the last 21 years and how we would take you with your continued support to another level come December 6th. And so to kickstart this evening's proceedings, this is the man who say Mount St. George don't need no other body. Now if I could have sing, I would have given a line, but maybe when he comes up, he would sing for you all. All you know the man? All you know the man? He is one of the candidates, very new to the politics, but I must say that I have admired this gentleman's commitment to service and delivery in his entire lifetime based on what I have seen. And so, brothers and sisters, please help me to bring to the lectern the candidate for the electoral district of Goodwood, Belgarden, Goodwood Mount St. George, Mr. Charles Palo Adams.
Ready up for the task. Red and ready to pop, red and ready to wave, red and ready to vote, ready to make we name, all ready to fight hard and safeguard from up top to your yard.
Yes, my people, PNM people, let me hear you. Right, I'm liking what I'm hearing, man. She said polo. It is palo, but we'll get to that. First of all, I'd like to say good afternoon to the political leader of the People's National Movement Island Council, Mrs. Tracy Davison Celestine. Other members of the Tobago Island Council Executive, fellow candidates, media houses present here this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, this is PNM time. Let me hear you. This morning was PNM nomination. From here onward, it is PNM domination.
PNM.
Now, as you heard earlier, I am Charles Palo Adams, and I was born and raised in Mount St. George. For those of you who know Mount St. George, it is the only state in Tobago called Georgia. It is the only state. You know, America has 52 states. Georgia, state, Tobago. My father and mother were simple people who bestowed great discipline upon all of my siblings and myself from a very, very early stage. I came from a small house, but a very large home that welcomed everyone in my community. My educational journey started at Mount St. George Primary School. I went through Bishop's High School. I did work at the University of the West Indies, where I obtained a bachelor's degree in management studies. And I must say, for those of you who don't know, I work at WASA for the last, 35 years? Presently, I'm an administrator at WASA. So I know about water, and I come with fire tonight. So PNM people, let's wax up the place. Community work is nothing strange to me. I have been part of youth groups, village councils, sporting organizations throughout my community, and of course, trade union. And to be exact, when you talk about trade union, PSA. So anybody who wants to know about PSA, ask Palo. Don't ask no one else. Though I stand here destined to be the next area representative for Mount St. George Goodwood, I feel proud to be a part of this great team, the People's National Movement. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this great, strong PNM party will protect your future. This is what we know about, protecting your future. All those who want to fix up, let them wait for Christmas and fix toys. We will protect your future. Again, I would like to thank you all for the opportunity to represent my electoral district. I am the candidate that will pick up the mantle from Mr. Joel Jack and continue his good work, and that of the People's National Movement. Great party, that is. So, Joel, I must say thank you for what you have done, and I will take it from here. Palo will take it from here. Now, just to be short, I'll be short, very short, but I must talk about the vision for my electoral district. It will include things like continuing access roads on farmlands, because as you know, Mount St. George Goodwood is generally an agriculture community. And it is important, especially now more than ever, where we need to feed ourselves and so forth. We get the farmers in, give them the support that they need So agriculture access roads will be very, very important on my list. The seniors and the differently able, we will continue to give them that service that they need, because with the People's National Movement, no one would be left behind. There are several roads also that I will try to get on board, and get us to do the work that is necessary to connect my communities. As you know, there are 5 communities within my electoral district, starting from Bacolet, where I live, all through to John Dale, Hope, Mount St. George, and of course, Goodwood. I will also like to facilitate employment and training for our young men and women. This will surely help them to step into their purpose, right? I think the young people need that door to be opened. Right now it is ajar. The People's National Movement will continue to open doors for our young ones. That at the end of the day, we will advance this island. We will continue the advancement of this island. Of course, economic development for local businesses, because diversification, of course, is top of our list, and no doubt helping our young businessmen, entrepreneurship is very much high on the agenda, I know, of the People's National Movement, and we'll work assiduously to encourage our local businesses as far as possible. We have many, many sporting facilities throughout our island and also within my community. I hope to upgrade some and, of course, enhance those sporting and community facilities, thereby facilitating community development. Now, this election come December the 6th, we need leadership and we need management going forward. Tracy Davison Celestine is my leader, and she is a good woman. Let me say that again. Tracy Davison Celestine is my leader, and she is a good woman. Notice, I have one leader, one party on the island of Tobago here, and one vision. You know, the distractors and the opposers, they have 2 of everything. So they have 2 tongue, 2 leader, 2 color, green and black. 2 position, vaccinate today, don't vaccinate tomorrow. 2 Range Rover. So effectively, them is a 2-2 party. And I know when Tobago talk fast, what we say with 2-2, them is the 2-2 party. Tracy Davison Celestine is my leader. I must emphasize, she is a good woman. She's in charge. She's totally in charge of all of us, People's National Movement, and Tobago by extension. She will be in charge of all of us come December the 6th. The others, they're not in charge, you know. One is being charged, and the other was discharged from our party. So remain with my leader, Tracy Celestine Davison, because she is in charge. And you know, just to close, I must give you we call it a pecan. You know, Tobago have a mystery tombstone in Plymouth. Close to, is what, Fort James to be exact. They have a mystery tombstone there, nice historical site for each and every one. But you know, in Tobago now, they have a mystery party. That mystery party is in a new fort, Fort Roxburgh. We have a mystery party there. And it reads, he was the leader without knowing he is the leader. Because the leader tell him to be the leader until he return as a leader. Nobody know who is the leader. That is what them about. Nevertheless, in closing, come December the 6th, I would like you to put your index finger against the People's National Movement for continued leadership, continued management in your island space, this little island of Tobago. We will do what is necessary to develop the life of each and every citizen, all 15 of us. And in closing, I'm saying, come on the night, December the 6th, we will all get together and sing one refrain. Great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall prevail. I thank you.
Brother, me ready up for the task. Red and ready to pop, red and ready to wave, red and ready to vote, ready to make we name, all ready to fight hard and save God from uptown to your yard.
I am pretty sure that Monk St. George Goodwood is convinced now that they don't want no other body. From the ground up, Palo is the man. Let's hear it for the next representative for Monk St. George Goodwood, Charles Palo Adams. I'll get it right eventually. Before I move, I wish to make an announcement. I had a conversation with the police. Of course, as you know, the People's National Movement is always a very disciplined party. And I wish to remind you all, please remain in your groups of 5. The police has also advised that we are to end promptly at 9 p.m. so that everyone can get home for the curfew at 10. And also, we know that nobody from the party would be drinking alcohol, but I would make the announcement on behalf of the police, no consumption of alcohol on the premises or anywhere close to the premises. But we know that I'm not speaking to the People's National Movement this evening. Brothers and sisters, as we shout and we jump and we wave for all our candidates in the lead up to December 6th, I really want to remind us of the seriousness of this election. And we must always remind ourselves, and not only ourselves, but those that are close to us, where we were before a PNM administration, where we are now, and where another PNM administration is destined to take us. And as much as they are trying to distort and mix up our messaging when we speak on a daily basis, we must always remember one thing. The People's National Movement has always outlined its vision for the people of Tobago. And that is why on a PNM platform, you heard the political leader over the past couple of days saying that we are placing focus on women and single mothers. And just to remind you, there will be free daycare services for single and low-income mothers for up to 2 children. And that is to give you the opportunity, single mothers and young mothers, that you can pursue your academic goals. And that would be achieved under this People's National Movement. Because we recognize the value of our women in Tobago, and we want you to reach your fullest potential. And on this slate, brothers and sisters, of course, our political leader is a female. And I can attest that the caring and compassionate trademarks of the woman on this side will ensure that no woman is left behind. And as we speak of female candidates, brothers and sisters, I will introduce to you our next speaker, a lady who is no stranger to this community of Calder Hall, always smiling, always serving, a true performer, committed and dedicated to her constituents, a woman in whom I am well pleased. Brothers and sisters, please put your hands together as I invite your next representative for the electoral district of Scarborough Mount Grace, Miss Marcelin Melville Jack.
Red and me ready up for the task. Because I red and ready to pump, red and ready to wave, red and ready to vote, ready to make we name, all ready to fight hard and save God from uptown to your yard. We don't pick we side, we red and ready to ride, be them on the fire, be them on the energy.
Yes, brothers and sisters, PNM had the fire, PNM have the energy. You look so beautiful this evening in your red. Are you red and ready?
PNM.
Permit me at this time to acknowledge our political leader of the Tobago Council of the PNM, Mrs. Tracy Davidson Celestin, and her husband, Mr. Wesley Celestin. Let me also recognize our MP for Tobago East, who I understand is in the audience. Let us put our hands together for Miss Ayana Webster-Roy. Special mention also to our Deputy Chief Secretary and the next representative for Bagatelle, Bacolet, Mr. Joel Jack. On the podium also is my colleague and friend. Now, Palo means friend, eh? So I am insisting that you are my friend. Another colleague in battle, the next representative for Mount St. George Goodwood, Mr. Charles Adams. Special mention also to my friend. I have a lot of friends in this PNM. This one is who I would consider to be my girlfriend. The next representative for Roxborough, Argyle, Mrs. Nadine Stewart Phillips. A pleasant evening also to the members of the Executive Council. I see the General Secretary, Mrs. Yolanda Beckles, and Mr. Handel Beckles in the audience. And somewhere around, I know that there is the chairman of the Tobago East constituency, Mr. Wendell Berkeley, all the other officers, PNM family, good evening. I greet you all in the precious name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. After what I consider to be an exciting nomination process this morning, we, the official candidates of the PNM, are now pumped up and energized more than ever to preach the gospel of the PNM to all the people of Tobago as we quickly approach the December 6th THA elections. Brothers and sisters, 20 more days. Days to remind our fellow Tobagonians about the impressive 20-year development journey of the PNM in Tobago. Remember that development is a continuous process, so the PNM looks forward to continuing that process of development. 20 more days to ensure that the gains we have made over these years and our improved quality of life are protected at all cost by returning the stable, predictable, caring, experienced administration of the PNM to office. PNM family, I am happy to stand on this platform this evening in Calder Hall, a place I call home. This evening, I am here primarily to endorse the candidacy of the Deputy Chief Secretary and candidate for Bagatelle Bacolet, Mr. Joel Jack. Mr. Jack is a young man who could be considered a stalwart in representation. He has served the people of Bacolet, Mount St. George, and the people of Tobago within the Tobago House of Assembly with distinction over the last 8 years. With the present realignment of the electoral boundaries, the polling division of 49-45, which I previously held, now falls within his electoral area. And permit me to take the opportunity to thank the people of Concordia, Kokowati, Sandy River, Belmont Road, Belmont Farm Road, Cradley, and French Fort for your love and support over the last few years. We have managed to make major inroads during that time. Many of the streets have been paved, electricity came to French Fort and the people in James Street. I'm sure they can hear my voice from where they are located. And I have heard that that long-awaited bridge for the people of Adelphi, Phase 3, will soon be constructed. So for that, I want to thank all my colleagues within the Tobago House of Assembly for ensuring that the job gets done. I know that the people of 49-45 are in capable hands because the man who will be elected to represent you on December 6th, Mr. Joel Jack, is another hardworking, compassionate member of the P&M family. So at this time, I heartily endorse him to your care. Brothers and sisters, this evening, I wish to focus for just a little while on the importance of education. The last time I stood on these grounds, at this location, I promised to beat and teach. However, this evening, I intend to teach, then beat. The late, great Dr. Eric Eustace Williams advised the people of this country on the celebration of our independence that the future of the nation lies in our children's book bags. Brothers and sisters, this admonition is even more relevant today. At a time where the ravages of the coronavirus has resulted in major job losses and reduced incomes, it is critical that we as a people retool and reskill to function effectively in our constantly changing society. For the past 21 years, this P&M-led THA administration has always ensured that education is given the highest priority and is placed at the forefront of our human capital developmental agenda. All the major advancements and reform in the education system have occurred under the people's national movement. We have provided access to free education from nursery to tertiary, and this was for all citizens. Today, in 2021, the opportunities provided are even more abundant and available to all in the fields of academia, as well as in technical and vocational skills development. The Vocational Skills Training Program, which is offered by the Division of Community Development, Enterprise Development and Labor within communities, and I can tell you that in this community of Calder Hall, many, many vocational skills classes have been offered. And these courses were offered for the unemployed as well as the employed persons in the community. These programs catered for instruction and training in 25 different skilled areas. And to date, I am proud to say that we have graduated over 3,000 participants in the last 4 years. Graduates from this program have the additional opportunity of accessing grants and loans from the Business Development Unit to jumpstart their business activity in any area of interest. Brothers and sisters, you need anything better than that? Right here in the community of Calder Hall, in Bagatelle, Bacolet, you can realize your dreams. Because it is important to note that education is not just academic. Education is about preparing young men and women for life. And the People's National Movement have been forefront in the lead up to these activities. Additionally, the Department of Advanced Training and Advisory Service, what we call DATAS, within the Division of Education, facilitates human capital development through the administration of bursaries, grants, and scholarships. And this is in order to propel the developmental needs of the island of Tobago. In the past 4 years, a total of 160 students have benefited from this initiative to the tune of $7.42 million of your dollars. People of Tobago, this P&M administration also intends to provide scholarships in the area of medicine within specialty areas in an effort to boost the healthcare services that are currently provided on the island. Scholarships will also be offered in technology and environmental studies to ensure that we keep this beautiful slice of paradise clean, green, and serene. The future of Tobago under a P&M-led administration continues to be bright and fruitful, and it must be protected at all cost. People of Tobago, many times we don't understand how blessed we are. We are blessed in so many ways when compared to other islands of our size within the region. We can boast of the largest number of state-of-the-art health facilities, community centers, educational and sporting facilities. And this is all as a result of the visionary policies of the P&M over the last 21 years. I'm advised that very soon we can look forward to the opening of our second state-of-the-art hospital in Roxborough. Brothers and sisters, my personal mantra has always been, position yourself to receive and achieve. And this evening, I want to say to the people of Bagatelle, Bacolet, Calder Hall, and those who are listening online and even on our local stations, position yourself with the People's National Movement so that you can receive, and we are talking now about empowerment, receive the educational opportunities that are available so that you can achieve your goal. If you will allow me to just wax biblical for a little while, the woman with the issue of blood, the blind man at the temple, the woman at the well, Zacchaeus, that man of small stature who had to climb a tree to catch Jesus' attention. They all had to position themselves in order to receive healing and blessings from the Lord. People of Tobago, I therefore wish to appeal to you. Position yourself and stand resolutely behind the People's National Movement, a party that has demonstrated 65 years of visionary leadership and stellar performance. And you must do this in order to realize your full potential and attain an improved quality of life. We are the People's National Movement, a party with a vision, a party with experienced leadership, a party you can trust to continue to manage Tobago's affairs during these perilous times. This is no time to be gambling with your future. This is no time, ladies and gentlemen, to be taking chances. We are proud of our political leader, Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley, who has led Trinidad and Tobago through these perilous times. And today, as we give thanks to God for life, we give thanks for the stellar leadership of Dr. Rowley. So, brothers and sisters, Tobago's future is bright. Under the leadership of our political leader, Mrs. Tracy Davidson Celestine, a strong, sober, visionary woman with local and international political experience. So let me take this opportunity to urge you. Wake up early on December 6th. Do not forget to say a prayer. Have your breakfast and get to the polling stations with all the members of your family of voting age. And remember to vote Joel Jack in Bagatelle, Bacolet. Charles Adams in Mount St. George, Goodwood. Marcelin Melville Jack in Scarborough, Mount Grace. Tracy Davidson Celestine in Signal Hill, Patience Hill. And all the other standard bearers of this great party. So at the end of the day, when the PNM victory is won, we will sing that sweet refrain, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM. We have prevailed. God bless you. I thank you.
Whether me ready up for the task, because I when I'm ready to pump, when I'm ready to wave, when I'm ready to vote, ready to make we name, all ready to fight.
Brothers and sisters, I know Calder Hall a little cold this evening, but the fire of the PNM is supposed to take us through. So this side would be my fire side, and this side would be my energy side. So when I say fire, I want to hear you respond. When I say energy, I want to hear this side respond. Fire!
PNM.
Now we're looking for the energy.
PNM.
All right. We get into where the air is red, brothers and sisters. Scarborough, Mount Grace, there is no contest. Marcelin Melville Jack is definitely the best. Let me hear it again for your next representative, Mrs. Marcelin Melville Jack. Always standing for integrity and effective service delivery. Brothers and sisters, just as I remind you of our conversations that we have been having on this PNM platform over the last few days, the political leader announced that this P&M administration will deliver 2,000 lots of land that will take into consideration daily paids, single mothers, servicemen, and persons in every sector over the next 4 years. It's not I say so, brothers and sisters, it's the leader say so. And this is the lady, brothers and sisters, who is outlining the vision for the next 4 years as this people's national movement continues to take Tobago forward. And this is no promise, this is a commitment. And as we move to our next speaker, I introduce Mr. Luke James, who would bring Mr. Joel Jack to the lectern as our next speaker.
Red Army, how are you feeling?
P&M.
I love it. Now, they say when God can't come, he does send a man. And tonight, I have the honor of introducing you to the Get It Done man. Joel Jack is the Deputy Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly with responsibility for finance and the economy. He was first appointed Secretary of Finance and Enterprise Development of the THA in January 2013, and he was the youngest person ever to hold that prestigious position. So I want to tell you something about Joel Jack. I can tell you that during this COVID-19 pandemic, Mr. Jack went out and beyond to assist families, not only in his constituency, but also families outside his constituency. That is performance. I can tell you that on the path to innovate, transform, and improve our youths, Mr. Jack was one of the technocrats that crafted the BDU policy, allowing small business owners access to financial assistance to give their business that extra boost that is performance. I can certainly tell you that Mr. Jack has such a deep dedication for serving his constituents that if you reach out for assistance today, before the street lights come on, Mr. Jack will deliver. That is performance for your money. So, my brothers and sisters, join me in welcoming Mr. Joel Jack.
This one goes out to all the people in the struggle. You got to keep the faith in Jesus Christ and give him all the praise, yeah. Yeah, no. I never let go. I never let go. God will never let me down. He's the driver of my vehicle. I never let go.
Thank you so much for your warm welcome this evening. P&M Army, you look good. P&M Army, you look red. And P&M Army, you look ready for December 6th. Put your hands together tonight. This evening, let me start off by recognizing the political leader of the Tobago Island Council and the first female chief secretary come December 6th at 7 p.m., Mrs. Tracy Davidson Celestine and Mr. Celestine. Let me also acknowledge my dear friend and colleague, my stomping ground partner. Last year we stomped the ground and we ensured that we added Tobago East to the list of seats in the general election. A woman in whom we are well pleased, a lady of distinction, my dear friend, Mrs. Ayana Webster Royce. Always so nice to see you. Tonight as well, I have a special lady in the crowd. She's a doctor, my spouse, Dr. Kamaria Keynes Dumas Jack. Ladies and gentlemen, let me acknowledge the venerable, the long-standing champion, chairman of the Tobago Island Council, Mr. Stanford Callender. And let me tell you so that you're not here in body, but your spirit is here with us. This evening as well, let me acknowledge other executive members, Mrs. Yolanda Beckles, General Secretary, and Mr. Beckles. Let me also acknowledge Mr. Wendell Berkeley, Chairman of Tobago East, and Mrs. Cecile Beckles, Chairman of Tobago West. Could you put your hands together for executive members as well, please? But ladies and gentlemen, when you are among friends on this platform, you feel happy. And I am proud to be part of 13 other standard bearers together with the political leader. And could you put our hands together for chairwoman this evening, Lady Nadine Stewart Phillips, the standard bearer who would return effective representation to Roxborough Argyle. Put your hands together for the man in whom I have the pleasure of passing the baton to as he continues to provide effective representation to the people of Mount St. George, and now by extension the people of Goodwood, Mr. Charles Paolo Adams. Let me also salute and pay tribute to the teacher. And as the reggae singers will say, teach me, teach me, teach me, teacher. And she will not only teach, she will teach and instruct in the right way that people should campaign and that they should go. And come December the 6th, we will do the very sound licking and flogging upon the candidate for Scarborough Mongrace. But put your hands together for teacher Marcelin Melville Jack. Ladies and gentlemen, I am excited. P&M family, well-wishers, supporters, both those persons who are here live this evening and those persons who are following us on the radio stations, television, and social media. A special good evening to you. And I want to say good evening to my friends and family listening to us in New York, New Jersey, and to all Tobagonians who are looking in at us, looking at the choices we will make come December 6th. And I want to recognize them because, ladies and gentlemen, they are anxious and excited for December 6th to come. And just like you, I am feeling a momentum building, a groundswell of support as all right-thinking Tobagonians make up their mind resolutely to return the People's National Movement to office come December 6th. Because, ladies and gentlemen, Tobago is at a crossroad. And I'm here in Calder Hall. And some persons might be wondering, you know, Joel Jack and Calder Hall. I'm still looking a bit youngish. But a few years ago, you might have seen me run up and down this field, playing football with the young men in the area. And if anybody calls out to me using my middle name, Dupont, it means that they have known me for a very long time, because that was my grandfather's name, and that is what people know me by. Because for most persons who don't know, I grew up in Government House Road, not too far from here. And my paternal grandparents, they lived in Mongrace. So between Calder Hall Field and Mongrace Field, having fun, playing football, interacting with the residents. So this evening, if you see me calm, just having a good time and smiling, is because I am home. But ladies and gentlemen, we are in serious times. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in dangerous times. And if the COVID-19 pandemic has taught us anything, is that we are not to take any chance or we shouldn't take any chances with our lives. And if, given the unprecedented times, we are to be vigilant, we are to exercise due care, caution, and attention because of the pandemic, why are people on the other side attempting for us to make a decision with the fate of the Tobago's development and the fate of generations to come? Because, ladies and gentlemen, just like the pandemic, we had to make adjustments. We had to change the way that we do things. We had to change every aspect of our lives over the past 18 months or so. Because something happened in Wuhan, China in 2019, November. And for most of us, we thought that what happened in China would not affect us here in Trinidad and Tobago. So we were going about our lives, merry, happy, go along. November come, we had our carnival. But by the time Easter hit, we had to lock down and we had to adjust our lives and our livelihoods because of the pandemic. And brothers and sisters, it has been a trying time. It has been a challenging time. But you know, one thing that has been constant and has been certain for me and for a lot of us, it has been our trust and confidence in Almighty God. Because as we repose our trust and confidence in Almighty God, in this beautiful capital of paradise that we call home, that we call Tobago, there was one assurance that allowed us all to feel safe and secure. Because, brothers and sisters, when you compare the management by the Tobago House of Assembly of a People's National Movement government in Tobago, and you compare what we did over the past 18 months or so with our partners in Trinidad to confront and weather the pandemic, all of us were saying and thanking God that we had sound, sober leadership in place and that we had a P&M government in Tobago and we had a P&M government in Trinidad. Because, brothers and sisters, I am here tonight and I'm seeing people trying to manipulate this pandemic, manipulate the fact that we are confronting challenges and trying to exploit it for political gain. But brothers and sisters, I want you to tell them tonight that we're big and that we have sense and we are right-thinking people, and come December the 6th, we know what we have to do. Brothers and sisters, with the reconfiguration of the electoral district and the renaming of Bacolet, Mount St. George to Bacolet, Bagatelle, we were in transition. And brothers and sisters, when they did the reconfiguration and I saw the adjustments, brothers and sisters, I was wondering who would be the person to pick up the baton, to join me locking hand in hand, joining me in partnership as we extend the electoral district from Bagatelle, Bacolet to Goodwood. Who would join me and keep the tradition that we started in 2013, calling it one into one into one? And I was wondering who. But ladies and gentlemen, when the name Charles Paulo Adams came, I smiled and I thank Almighty God. Because, brothers and sisters, here was a young man who was part of a number of associations and organizations, a man who I felt confident will pick up the baton and run with it and continue in that same vein to provide effective representation. So brothers and sisters, just as Mr. Adams endorsed me, I am taking the opportunity now to thank all my extended family in Bacolet, Mount St. George. We have achieved a lot together. And brothers and sisters, I have a whole long list of things that we have achieved together. And I could point to them. The people in Friendsfield will smile and say the flooding issues are a thing of the past. You know why? Effective representation. When in the rainy season and a couple 15 minutes of rainfall are getting nervous, are calling Pancha, are calling what going on, what happening, everything all right. One night I had to fly up here with an excavator and clear the river mouth. But brothers and sisters, now I sleeping peacefully when the rain fall. I turn and I'm hugging up missus. I ain't had to worry to call anybody again because effective representation, a promise made, commitment delivered to the people of Friendsfield. And brothers and sisters, if we didn't have that interruption from last year, Easter to November, and again just after Easter this year to July, we would have started putting down the foundation to remove the steps from Friendsfield and put in an access road. That is delivery and representation, brothers and sisters. We could point to the employment opportunities that were provided through my electoral district office so that we can, as we put persons on our database, we can recommend and point them to jobs in the public and private sectors. We can give them the necessary recommendations. Brothers and sisters, delivery, P&M style. I could point to the fact of Bagatelle extension in the past when I was walking. That used to be a dirt road, but now, brothers and sisters, is a major artery. You could fly in and out. Promise made, commitment given, and that was delivered. I could point to the fact that over the years, when we have harvest in John Dial, 3 cars can pass on the road. Once a car park, is jam session right up to Goodwood. But brothers and sisters, when I came into office, I said we're fixing that. And we widen the John Dial main road along the Windward Road. A promise made, a commitment given, and that was delivered. Because you see, brothers and sisters, when we give a commitment, we intend to keep it. And another one before I move on, because the political leader warned me already about time. Because you see, the young men on the block are close and dear to my heart. And that is why human capital development and investment in providing the support to NGOs and faith-based organizations is so dear to me. And that is why we started working with the Second Chance Learning Institute and Pastor Crispin Andrews to develop the necessary support to provide the certification for young men so that they, in turn, cannot just get a work, but find meaningful careers and feel empowered. So if they want not just have a job, but be entrepreneurial and put their skills to use. And we made the necessary investment. I also, when the Mount St. George Methodist Church came to me and said, listen, we want to put down a youth skills development training center. I said, don't worry, commitment made, promise delivered, and they got the support through effective representation. And brothers and sisters, I can go on and on all night. But brothers and sisters, when they told me that I now had a new electoral district, 4945, brothers and sisters, I went. As per usual, I met with the team and we sit down and we planned. And they told me about the challenges that they were encountering. And brothers and sisters, I started to smile Because you know, as Mr. Luke James said it, the fix-it man landed on the scene. So the long-standing problem on Charles Lane extension is a thing of the past because the road is paved and smooth, and now we have a major extension in Mason Hall. Promise made, commitment given, delivered, P&M style. Brothers and sisters, I met some young men on the block, and they're saying, what you going to do for we? And we started the conversation. We started their engagement, and now they are part of the community, providing services and supporting the enhancement of the community, so that now the environs within Lower Mason Hall, they clean up, they fix up, and I want to applaud them. Because, brothers and sisters, when I see young men on the block, I see Joel Jack as a teenager. Because, brothers and sisters, what made the difference? It was the People's National Movement. Because you see, the People's National Movement gave me the opportunity to turn my dream and my passion into reality. So I always had the hunger to study and to pursue tertiary education. And brothers and sisters, it was Mr. Orville Delano London who made that possible when I was at St. George's University. So that is why I can stand here boldly as a product of the People's National Movement and defend our track record over the years, brothers and sisters. Because, brothers and sisters, you can't expect your enemy to celebrate your achievement. You can't expect our enemies to talk about the good that we have done. And that is why, brothers and sisters, I made the point some nights ago, and I want to repeat the point again. If you score 90% in an exam or 95%, you are smiling because you have passed that exam with flying colors and you're looking for your A or A plus according to the grading scheme. And brothers and sisters, when you look at the track record of the People's National Movement from 2001 to now, without question, we have transformed the landscape of Tobago. We have ensured that the island's socio-economic development is on par, not just with Trinidad, but up and down the region. When you look at our quality of life, brothers and sisters, there are things that other people are dreaming for that we are taking for granted. And that is why when you listen to the other side and you ask them and they're vilifying and in their bacchanal and their concatan and their confusion, they want to make people feel that we have done nothing for this island. But brothers and sisters, just reflect for a moment. Reflect about the fact that some people drive in a car. Reflect for a moment that you have 2 and 3 cars parked up in your yard. Reflect for a moment that you're able to own a house, own property because of the People's National Movement. Think about the fact that the mother who was working at URP was able to send her daughters to complete tertiary education because of the support of the People's National Movement. But they'd want to come and say, we didn't do nothing, we didn't do anything. And I'm asking myself the question, where they living? What they're talking about is the same Tobago? It's the same Tobago where the economy and the gross domestic product in 2001 was $900 million. Today it is $1.7 billion. Is it the same Tobago where the unemployment rate was over 21%, but now, before COVID, was under 5%? Is it the same Tobago? Is it the same Tobago where we provided millions of dollars in grants and fundings so people could start their business through the Enterprise Assistance Grant and Loan Programs and through the Venture Capital Equity Fund Limited? Is it the same Tobago they're talking about when we increased the number of students with degrees through data and our support for human capital development? So now over 20% of the population now is in possession of at least a first degree. Is it the same Tobago they're talking about? Is it the same People's National Movement Administration that they're talking about? But brothers and sisters, let me tell you something. COVID has confronted us, but it's not the first crisis that we have confronted as an administration. It was this same People's National Movement Administration that we confronted the 2008-2009 financial crisis. They want you to forget. You remember when oil prices was heading up to $200 a barrel and suddenly dropped below $45 a barrel, and people felt the sky fell in, and there was no future for us here in Trinidad and Tobago. But brothers and sisters, they say God is a Trinity, but God has endowed us with quality leadership through the People's National Movement. And brothers and sisters, perfection only exists with Almighty God. But if you're looking for the best party, the best organization for governance and to manage us in crisis, out of crisis, it's the People's National Movement. There is no other vehicle, there is no other party with the experience, with the capacity, with the leadership to advance this island's development. So brothers and sisters, they're glad to tell you what we did do. The 5 marks and the 10 marks that we have in train to come, they're not talking about it. They're not talking about the fact that they will go back in previous budget statements and copy policies and try to rehash them as if it's something new. Remember, they come talking about a development bank. Let them read my 2013 budget. They're coming now, they stole snippets of a Tobago infrastructure investment strategy and try to craft it as their own. But brothers and sisters, if you have listened to me in my budget debate, and I will get the Hansard documents to tell you how many times I've had to reprimand them for plagiarizing all our policy documents and statements of the past. Because brothers and sisters, what we do with consultation with all stakeholders, we put together socioeconomic documents, sound documents that are reviewed and checked consistently. And then we start to roll them out. As we move this island's development forward, it's not by guess, it's not by happenstance, it's in a structured manner. And that is why, as your Deputy Chief Secretary and Secretary for Finance and the Economy, the CDP came to an end, and therefore I was mandated to put the medium-term planning framework together. And brothers and sisters, we have a plan. We have a plan to advance and guide this island's affairs over the next 4 or 5 years. Again, focusing on the tourism sector, ensuring we have the linkages with the agriculture sectors and other sectors, and ensuring that we have a future-proof plan to advance this island's development. But brothers and sisters, every morning you have one plan, another plan, and then something else. Because brothers and sisters, we can't confuse you one morning with one person saying something, and another morning with another person saying something else. And that is what you're getting from the other side. And as I wind up, because I'm seeing Elvis walking up and down the place, and that's a sign that I might be going over my time. But brothers and sisters, we saw that early during the 6-6 time. The political leader called Mr. Augustine and said, "Sir, come, let us come together and let us elect a speaker." The young man said, "I can't make no decision. You have to call Watson." I said, "What kind of trouble is this? What kind of trouble is this?" I was there with my political leader, and I overheard it. "My lady, are you telling the truth?" "Yes, yes." I said, "What kind of trouble is this?" I said, "This is the person who was on the platform boasting, 'I got to be chief secretary and I will make decisions.'" Brothers and sisters, we don't want any twin leadership. Any two-headed snake is confusion. We don't want that. We want a leader we can repose trust and confidence in and hold them accountable. When things happening, one blaming the other is he. Next thing is he. Is finger pointing. No. We want one person to hold accountable, and that is why we can rest assured with the confidence of the quality leadership in the People's National Movement as we elect a good woman to office. Because, brothers and sisters, I want to wrap up. Elvis, me time check. Petal, don't laugh me. Elvis, me time check. But, brothers and sisters, we have 4 questions I want to ask you tonight. 4 questions. As I wrap up and allow the political leader to come and take over the stage. Who will be our partners to advance Tobago's development come December the 6th at 7 p.m.? Ask yourself that first question. Because, brothers and sisters, if we rejected them in the general election, why they feel they have a hope in the Tobago House of Assembly election, we have to reject them again. And we have to make a statement this time. We sent a lady with dignity down to represent us. You want somebody who rolling on the ground and claiming they're fighting for people to come and represent you? If we rejected that person to go down and represent us in the national parliament, we have to hold the Tobago House of Assembly to the same standard and reject them outright again. First question, who will be our partners? Because if you hinting at black, is UNC you're supporting? And I make no apologies, because ask Mr. Lee, November 7th Newsday, we not taking part in THA elections. What's up there? I didn't say it. Check the Newsday, November 7th. And brothers and sisters, if, God forbid, well, that ain't happening because we are right-thinking people in Tobago. But brothers and sisters, remember 2010, brothers and sisters, I cannot forget that 2010 to 2015 period was the most destructive period in the history of this country. The theftocracy and the kleptocracy of that administration is unparalleled in the history of this country. And if I'm looking for partners, I ain't looking for Alibaba. If I'm looking for partners to advance Tobago's development, I'm looking for people with Tobago's interests at heart. And brothers and sisters, my first question, who will be our partners to advance Tobago's development? And if you answer that question honestly, it's only the People's National Movement. Because with Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley in Trinidad, I am assured that Tobago's development will be advanced 120%. Brothers and sisters, the second question you have to answer is who will be your leader? who will be your leader. Because this election is not for a chief secretary, you know. This election is about leadership. It's about leadership. And I'm asking every mother, every father, thank you, Elvis, I get the nod. Every mother, every father, every grandmother, every grandfather the question, can you repose confidence in the leader of the other side? Can you tell your child, listen, hey, emulate this person? And if you're saying yes, we'll have your lawyer money and your bail money put down. Because leader be leader, there is no question. There is only one choice, the People's National Movement. And the third question as I wrap up before Elvis gets any closer is which organization has the track record of performance and delivery and transforming this Tobago space? One organization, and that is the People's National Movement. Brothers and sisters, I thank you wholeheartedly for listening to me attentively. And as I leave this podium, I will drop that on Wednesday or Sunday. Brothers and sisters, who you're going to trust come December 6th. I have made the case and have made a compelling case for all persons who might be on the fence or thinking about staying home. My brothers, my sisters, we ain't making that mistake again. January has taught us that we have to come out and vote resoundingly, and vote overwhelmingly, and vote for the People's National Movement. Because what they're trying to do is to disenchant people. Tell them don't come out, don't vote. What you're voting for, tell them. And let me tell you something. I want to applaud the police. Because you saw some shenanigans about some incentive and some harm and some nonsense and some foolishness. The police got involved. Because there should be no inducement for people to come out and vote in election. This must be a free and fair election. And when they're coming on the block with their money and their rum and their marijuana, tell them you're not for sale. Slavery ended 1834. Slavery ended a long time ago. And tell them away with that. I am not for sale, but come December 6th, I know where I'm putting my ex right by the Balizé as we elect Mrs. Tracy Davidson Celestine to be the first female chief secretary of this island and the People's National Movement to stay in office for another 4 years. And come that faithful evening, we'll be saying, great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. We have and we shall and will always prevail.
Rolling in my two-man army, my Jesus and I know what God goes before me.
Brothers and sisters, we are presenting to you a well-rounded team comprising youth, coupled with experience, persons with a passion for service, capable of providing progressive leadership, and your candidate, Mr. Joel Jack, and the next representative for Bagatelle Bacolet represents all that I just outlined. Let me hear it again for Mr. Joel Jack. This side, brothers and sisters, is fire, energy, leadership, commitment, you name it. You find it all in the People's National Movement. Are you confident in your leader? PNM. Are you confident in your leader, brothers and sisters? Good woman. And they don't like to hear we say that. So I would repeat it this evening. Tracy Davidson Celestine of Betsy's Hope, Tobago is a good woman. Brothers and sisters, and before I bring on the political leader, I invite to do her favorite piece for us, Miss Sharon Phillips.
I cannot wait on election morning. Oh, they know the tune.
Join up in the east, yeah.
Put your posse, put your hand in the air.
Team up in the west, yeah.
Everybody. Come on. Pump your hands in the air like so. Pump your hands in the air like so. On your seat, though. Let me go.
We got this.
Hey. Everybody out here, listen. I cannot wait an election morning. You know why? I dipping down to me elbow, darling. From space side to Canaan, we taking over this island. You are the reason. Higher than higher heights is our limit. No, we ain't leaving. No one behind, we will not desert you. Come on, protect your future. I know we can do this thing. Yeah. So right now, let me fix up. Come now, while we link up. Bring a friend, let we build up. Build Tobago as one. Tongue the country, then nowhere. The PNM Army is the way that we love. Provide representation. Hey, we got this. We got this. We got this. PNM. We got this. We got this. We got this. Whoa. Yeah. So many youths in service, and that's an honor. Yeah. You are my friend, my sister, and my brother. So what we gonna do? Join up in the east. Get on fire over, say.
Team up in the west, yeah.
Everybody come with me. Team them up in the center. Make that fire no end. Red hot fire, we come out to do this work. Hey! But not this red army. Cause every day we keep on the journey we keep on. When fire more than then trouble. Not even what's a good stop this fire. But the standard bearers who come to do this work. And we fix up. Come now, while we link up. Bring a friend, let we build up. Build Tobago as one. Tongue to country, then nowhere. Be on a red army. It's the way that we lock up. Proper representation. I wanna hear you. We got this. We got this. We got this. PNM. We got this. I said we got this. We got this. Everybody, I wanna hear you. Who you voting for? Who you voting for? Who you voting for? Who you voting? On election day. Don't care what they say. Who you voting for? PNM. Who you voting for? Who you voting for? Who you voting for? Who you voting? On election day. Don't care what they say. Who you voting for? PNM. We got this. Yeah.
Brothers and sisters, so building on that energy that Sharon just left us with, Mr. GJ, I'm asking you to play that song and help me introduce the political leader, the woman we know as tried and tested Tracy, experienced, committed, passionate, service-oriented, the woman who would lead this team to victory come December 6th. A woman well-poised, experienced, ready to continue building this great island of Tobago. Brothers and sisters, please stand and help me welcome the political leader and the candidate for the electoral district of Signal Hill, Patience Hill, Miss Tracy Davidson Celestine.
I cannot wait for election morning. Tell them why. I depend down to me elbow, darling. From space side to Canaan, we making it through this moment. You are the reason. Higher than higher heights is our limit. No, we ain't leaving. No one behind, we will not
people, how are we feeling this evening? Tobago, how are we feeling this evening? We got this. Permit me to recognize in our midst this evening party executives of the Tobago Council of the PNM who are present with us. And let me recognize Mrs. Yolanda Beckles, General Secretary, and of course her husband, former Assemblyman Handel Beckles. I also wish to recognize all of our candidates, and they're fully nominated as candidates and will represent us in this election formally. All 15 of us, we have signed our documents and we are ready to take the electoral districts by storm on the night of December 6, 2021. And so I have immediately behind me Marceline Melville Jack, co-area representative for this electoral district. I also have Charles Adams, co-area representative as well. We have Mrs. Nadine Stewart Phyllis representing us in Tobago East in the electoral district of Roxborough Argyle, and your very own Joel Duport Jack, candidate for this electoral district. Let me also recognize former assemblymen who are in our midst, and I see Miss Alfred coming out night after night to give our candidate support. Let me hail you out. And I know all of them are logged in, whether it be on the television or whether it be on the World Wide Web. Let me recognize members of the media who are present as well, and then all of Tobago who are tuned in and are listening to the message of the People's National Movement. Because this is in fact very good information. This is in fact powerful information, and most importantly, this is information that comes with and from the truth, because this is what we are on the platform of the People's National Movement. And so, like all of the other speakers that have gone tonight, I too, as the political leader of the People's National Movement, take the opportunity to endorse your candidate, Joel Duport Jack, a man who is well experienced and one who will ensure that we take home victory in this seat. He has served as the secretary in the Division of Finance and Economy, and I know that he would do well in terms of serving you in this electoral district as a new, but at the same time as a very experienced candidate. And one of the things I also know is that the last time I spoke to you from this platform, I spoke to you from the boundaries of the Scarborough-Cudler Hall electoral district. And at that time, I think it was somewhere in December or January, Marceline Melville Jack was the area representative. And now she has passed on that baton. She has passed on the representation in this electoral district to Joel Jack. And he, as I said, will do well representing all of you. And so I take the opportunity this evening to remind all those who are not yet convinced to listen to our message, and most importantly, to ensure that you absorb our message and that you are so moved that you can come out and give support to our electoral district or representatives or candidates, rather, as we knock on every door throughout the electoral districts asking you for your support. Because we are about ensuring that we reconnect with all of the people wherever you are within the electoral district, and to give you the assurance that come 2021, that come December 6th, 2021, we will continue to serve you at a very high level. This is what the People's National Movement is all about. And so why are we at this point this evening, about 8 or 9 months after the last election? Of course, many of you would know that we had a 6-6 tie, and so we had an impasse where the PDP has 6 assemblymen, now candidates, and the People's National Movement had another 6, making up 12 electoral districts on this island. But there was a time when we reasoned as a people that we will put aside our own short-term objectives and our own short-term aims to look at the longer-term objective and the bigger picture, which is to ensure that Tobago receive full autonomy. And so along with the support of the Prime Minister, we had that meeting at Magdalena. I think it was somewhere in January or February of this year. And both political parties, the Prime Minister being independent in that sitting, the PDP and the PNM decided that we are both going to support the Tobago Autonomy Bill. Because we thought that that moment that all of us were Tobago-minded people and that we want the best for our people. And so we agreed that we're not going to focus on the Tobago House of Assembly amendment that would change the boundaries to 15 seats, but we would give support to the Parliament. We would give support to the PNM administration, and we would ensure at the end of the day that those consultations that would have started from since 1996 would be given the time of the day in Parliament, and that Tobago would be a better place come October 2021. But October 2021 has come and it has gone. And we are at the point now where we're going back to the polls without the Tobago Autonomy Bill passed in the House. And so because we did not obtain the support from the PDP and the UNC at that point in time, we now have to go to the only other option, which is the short-term option, which is the option that would have caused the seats in the Tobago House of Assembly, or the seats in Tobago rather, to become smaller in terms of its boundaries, and to now have 15 seats. And that is why we are at this point, 8 or 9 months after the next election, without that Tobago Autonomy Bill. But as we looked at the situation which unfolded then, in terms of the reasons why we did not obtain that kind of support that we thought we would have obtained, we recognized that it was more about personal agendas and interests over the bigger interest of the people of this island called Tobago. We recognized that it was about the people in the PDP wanting to become prime ministers and wanting to become chief secretaries without going through the normal process, without going through the traditional route that we usually have, where political leaders become prime ministers and eventually chief secretaries. And if you were to follow the law and if you were to follow the traditions, you would know what I'm speaking of. But most importantly, one of the things that we recognized at the end of the day is that all of the strategies that are implemented by the PDP has their roots in the UNC. And so no one at this point in time could tell me that the UNC and the PDP are not in alliance. When you look at all of the strategies that the PDP has been implementing, I can only surmise, and I hope you are seeing the same things as well. Their strategies are from the playbook of the UNC. Let us look back to, I think it was about 2010 or 2015, and even as recently as the last general elections. One of the things that the UNC called for in that election was international observers. Check it. One of the things that the PDP leader recently called for in this Tobago House of Assembly election is international observers. And I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, in Tobago, we have never had any issues with the Election and Boundaries Commission. As a matter of fact, there were times that the PNM would have lost election by 1 and 2 and 3 votes, and we have never challenged the EBC. But the UNC and the PDP continues to hug up, and at the end of the day, they are trying to undermine the integrity of the institutions that we consider to be independent and respectful in this land. Strategies of the UNC being implemented right here in Tobago, and we ought to pay attention to those. The PDP and the UNC have the same kind of intent, and that is why the political leader is talking about secession today, because the UNC wants to ensure that Tobago is cut off from Trinidad because it is politically expedient for them. And every time the political leader of the PDP opens his mouth in Tobago, he does not support Tobago's autonomy. He doesn't support the bills that receive the consensus and the support of the majority of the people of Tobago, but rather he supports secession, which is, of course, a UNC strategy and a political strategy to ensure that the people of Tobago are no longer a part of the coffers of Trinidad. And when you look at the PDP and the UNC, you would recognize that they also have something else in common. And that something else is that they don't want any good for Tobago. Check it out. When the UNC was in office in 2010, I think it was, to 2015, and the People's National Movement Administration was in office in Tobago, it was the worst time for us as a people in the administration. It was the worst time for us as people of Tobago. I recall many a times former Chief Secretary Orville London attempted to meet with the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, as he is bound to do by law, and that meeting never came off. If you read the Tobago House of Assembly Act, you would recognize that the Chief Secretary and the Prime Minister must speak on Tobago matters. But that never happened. And so when I tell you that the UNC and the PDP are aligned, ladies and gentlemen, there is enough information out there. And let us look at the utterings of the PDP. Any major plan and any ideas that come to this island for the people of Tobago to benefit, the PDP, Farley Augustine, deputy political leader, and Watson Duke, political leader of the PDP, are the first set of people to jump up and to criticize everything that is coming to this island. Look, for instance, at how they treated with the Sandals project. That Sandal project was supposed to have brought significant benefits to the people of Tobago. But Watson was all over the place, cursing Butch Stewart, cursing the Sandals management, cursing central government. And so the Sandals team decided that we are not coming to a place where we don't belong. And as a result, we have lost thousands of jobs. And I'm not talking about jobs for waitresses and farmers and fishermen. I am talking about jobs for those persons who have bachelor's degrees in tourism management, in management and the like. And this is why this evening I am making the point that the UNC and the PDP are aligned. They read from the same playbook. They do not want anything good for the people of Tobago. And more than that, ladies and gentlemen, they have the same intent, which is to ensure that Tobago secedes from Trinidad. And so if nothing else in this election, PNM people, Tobagonians, we have to come out and vote to ensure that we protect this beautiful space called Tobago, which has changed hands over 31 times. But we want to ensure that going forward that there is some stability. We want to ensure going forward that there is some predictability. And you will have that if you continue with the People's National Movement. Yes, you will hear that from me night after night, but it is the truth. We have to be in a position, ladies and gentlemen, to protect the gains that we have made as a people in this very beautiful space that we call Tobago. And sometimes we forget the strides that the People's National Movement Administration has made on your behalf. And so I want to remind you, I want to take the opportunity to remind all of you this evening, the Secretary of Finance and the Economy is responsible for Emergency Medical Assistance Program. And to date, we have been able to treat with over 30,000 Tobagonians who needed support in that area, whether it was food support, whether it was medical alert. 30,000 Tobagonians and counting. We deserve a round of applause for treating with the vulnerable. We have over the years constructed several health centers on this island. If you were to go through every electoral district at this point, you would see a nice health center staring at you in the face. And within recent times, this People's National Movement Administration has constructed a health center in Roxborough. We have opened up a new health center in Mariah. We have built a health center in Charlottesville, and very recently, we also built the Canaan Bonaccord Health Center. This brings us to a total of about 18 health centers in an island of 60,000 people, ladies and gentlemen. And if you were to do the math, you would recognize that as per capita, when compared to the rest of the region, Tobago, a small island, 60,000 people, is standing out strong. P&M style, P&M administration, ladies and gentlemen. Over the last 8 years, I'm not even going back as over the last 20 years, the Secretary of Community Development and Enterprise Development and Labor will tell you that we have built over 8 community centers in Tobago, and I started to list them out. Bell Garden Community Center, Betsy's Hope Community Center, Plymouth Bethesda Community Center, Speyside, Palatavere, John Dyer, Lambo, Lowlands, and the Boko Community Center. All of them built by the People's National Movement Administration. So when they talk the crap and try to ask you about where the $40 billion went, tell them, I say, Tracy Davidson Celestine, that it was spent in the development of every single community and electoral district in Tobago. That is where the money has gone. Further to that, we have worked with the YMCA to build 2 swimming pools, one in Tobago East and the other in Tobago West, again under the People's National Movement Administration. We went down to Deep West and we recognized that there was a need for the community of Buku. There we needed the people of that electoral district, the goat racers needed a space where they could ply their trade. And again, the Tobago House of Assembly spent over $100 million in the construction of the Buku goat race and integrated facility. We cannot afford to forget the gains that we have made over the last 20 years or so. So when they talk about change, ladies and gentlemen, people of Tobago, you have to ask them, change from what to what? Change from what to what? We have constructed pan theaters because we want to see culture move forward. And so we have constructed Carib Dixieland Pan Theater, Bell Garden Pan Theater. We have even constructed the Pan Theater for Cats and Jammers. And they are doing very well. And we continue to provide support to the cultural sector and to the cultural industry so that they can continue to thrive and continue to grow. Look at how we have treated with our micro, small, and medium businesses. And I see the secretary again boasting every time about the millions of dollars that we have been investing in people so that we can develop entrepreneurs at the end of the day. And that is worth a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And so when they come to tell you that this administration has done anything, all you have to say to them, Teacher Percy say, if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die. That is all you have to say to the PDP when they're pulling at straws night after day and trying to make the PNM and try to get to Begonians to think that we have not invested in their future. We have set aside funding for over $20 million on a yearly basis to encourage tertiary level education throughout the island. And we have been educating nurses, we have been educating managers, we have been educating doctors, we have been educating all and sundry who qualify to take up tertiary level education through DATAS. I want to say we did not have to create that arrangement for the people of Tobago. In other areas, it is about a scholarship. If you don't qualify for the scholarship, you have to go to the banks and find your own money. As a matter of fact, when I went to the University of the West Indies, Cave Hill campus to read for my degree, I had to borrow a loan from the Student Revolving Loan Fund. I didn't get any support from the THA at the time. But the People's National Movement has ensured over time that they listen to the cries of the people and that we can implement programs like these that would give an added benefit and an added layer to the people of Tobago, because we are focused on human development at the end of the day, People's National Movement style. We have increased our ICU beds, and I see Dr. Kamaria Keynes, Dumas, Jack, let me put the handle on your name. And I see her behind there. She works at the TRH and she knows of what I speak. We have increased ICU beds from 2 to 13 when I came in as the secretary. In that division of health, wellness, and family development, we had in the vicinity of about 2 ICU beds. Now we have up to 13. Enough space for persons who may need high-density, high-service care. We have moved our ventilators from 10 to now 28 on the island, and further we have created capacity for those persons who would need hemodialysis care. And so we are now operating at 73% capacity, luckily. And I want to take the opportunity to remind Tobagonians that we need to engage in self-care, because far too often I find that there are too many persons at our health centers and too many persons at our hospital needing care. And so we have to ensure at the end of the day that we practice healthy eating, that we exercise, and that we try as much as is possible to eradicate those high lifestyle diseases that come with diabetes and even hypertension or high blood pressure as we know it. But the point of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, this administration is walking the talk. This administration is ensuring that in every sector that is available in Tobago, that we have made a dent for your benefit. We are investing in our facilities. We are investing in our people, because at the end of the day, we want to see healthy people leading meaningful lives on this island. This is what this election is all about. This is not about Farley wanting to become chief secretary. It's not about that. This is not about them putting forward their personal agenda. This is about bread and butter issues. This is about ensuring that we put in office the best leader. This is about ensuring that we put in office the best vehicle, and that is the People's National Movement and none other. And I would say it, and you would hear it from all of us on this platform. We have been tried. We have been tested. And most importantly, we have been proven. And we are about delivery to the people of Tobago, ladies and gentlemen, and all of Tobago that is here this evening. I just want to add that in this election, we also have to take into consideration that relationship that we preached about night after night and day after day. And we have two representatives who sit in the parliament, one representing us in Tobago East and the other representing us in Tobago West. And 1.5 of them sit in the cabinet of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. But more than that, we have a Prime Minister from Tobago who leads the cabinet and who will ensure that the challenges that we have as a people are well articulated and that solutions will come to the benefit of all of us. And with a Prime Minister from Tobago leading the cabinet, we have seen the benefits accrued to Tobagonians over the last 3 or 4 years and counting. And if we go in Roxborough, we see evidence of it. If we drive by on Shervan Road, we see evidence of it. If we go down to Crown Point, we see evidence of it in the Arthur Napoleon Raymond Robinson Airport. And this has to account for something in this Tobago House of Assembly election, ladies and gentlemen. It is not about who playing the loudest Gaza music. It is not about who bullying people. And today, we were at the center where we went to submit our nomination, and they came in there with their bandwagon of people looking for fight, trying to push us down in this COVID, and of course, breaking all of the rules and regulations that we have been articulating that people should follow. And that is the style that they have, attempting to bully each and every one of us here on this island. And so, if nothing else, we must reject that kind of behavior coming from the PDP. And so I was making the point this evening that with collaboration, that with 2 members of parliament, one Tobago East, one Tobago West, and a Tobago-born Prime Minister leading the cabinet, that there are benefits to be accrued to us. And most importantly, it is a relationship that we must come out to support by voting solidly and only for the People's National Movement. I just want to add to the discussion this evening because I don't plan to be too long. But at the end of the day, I have to share with you the information. And that information, again, is outside of collaboration and relationships. We have to make the comparisons with those who want to come forward to lead the Tobago House of Assembly and, of course, the people of Tobago. And let us look at leader for leader. If we're comparing political leader of the Tobago Council to political leader of the PDP, we're talking here about chalk and cheese. I am a woman that is well experienced. I am a woman that has a vision and a plan for the people of Tobago when compared to the political leader on the other side. Let us look at the deputy political leader who wants to be chief secretary and going all over Tobago talking about I will be chief secretary, but at the end of the day, he is not even so sure that if they win, he will sit in that seat. And that is why he went forward to sign that social contract, of course, trying to hoodwink the people of Tobago into believing that there is some kind of arrangement between him and the political leader, Watson Duke. But if you notice, within recent times, all of the policy statements are coming from the political leader of the PDP. If you notice in recent times, you have not heard the political leader of the PDP saying that he is supporting Farley as the chief secretary for Tobago. And so, ladies and gentlemen, people of Tobago, boys on the block, wherever you are, you must listen to what is said and what is also not said. And from that, you will be able to make your decisions. And so, I want to make the point this evening, ladies and gentlemen, that again, that deputy political leader who wants to lead us says and does things that is politically expedient. That deputy political leader reminds me of a phrase that my grandmother taught us, that the upholder is worse than the thief. Look at it I'm sure all of us in Tobago are familiar with that old adage, the upholder is worse than the thief. And so I have been looking at what is happening within the PDP. I have been looking at what is happening within the PSA. The leak of the Auditor General report, as reported in the Trinidad Guardian, not one word from the political leader of the PDP, but he was all over the place telling people lie about an Auditor General report, talking about a zipline, where no mention of zipline is in that document. And so there are several questions that we have to ask of the deputy political leader, just like Joel has questions to ask of them on the other side. And those questions that we have to ask as a people, because we big and have sense, what is Farley's position on the auditor report of the PSA? What is his position? It cannot be the signing of a social contract that has no basis in law. What is his position? He's running all over the place, boasting all over, acting as though he's a hero. But when his back is against the wall and when challenges arise from within his own party, he remains quiet and silent. And is he the individual who he says that he is? But if he is big man, open up your mouth now. This situation with Farley and Watson reminds me of a big man living in another big man house. Open up your mouth if your name man. And so there are several questions that we have to ask of that deputy political leader. We also have to ask the question, if Farley indicates that he is a man of integrity, how did his boss pass the screening committee with all those charges over his head? One of the questions we ask all of our candidates, they sit right here. Is there anything that can come out that could be damaging to the party? Those are questions that we ask. And if I forget to ask those questions as the political leader, trust me, the others around the screening committee who would ask those questions as well. And so those are questions that we must get answers for as we go forth in this election. Because we cannot allow the deputy political leader and the political leader of the PDP to fool us in this election. They talk about trickery all the time, but the biggest trickery that I have ever seen is to put your deputy political leader to lead your party into an election. That is trickery, ladies and gentlemen, fooling the people of Tobago because they know that their political leader cannot sell in Tobago. And so they take Farley and dress him up and acting as though he is the boss within the PDP. And so I say tonight that is the biggest trickery that I have ever seen in this place called Tobago. And if we want to be hoodwinked, if you want to be hoodwinked, then you, I know, will have something else coming. And so, ladies and gentlemen, Tobagonians, I cannot leave this stage without talking about my vision and our vision from the platform of the People's National Movement. And we have been saying that we see a bright future for you, the people of Tobago, whether you're young, whether you're not so young, whether you're a single and vulnerable mother, whether you're a person who is looking for land or to build a house, whether you're a fisherman, whether you're a farmer, whether you're a businessman, we have a future for you under the People's National Movement. And that is why we have been talking about the creation of an investment agency to promote again Tobago, to create employment and to seek out opportunities for us on this island. That is why we have been saying that we will create over 3,000 jobs in concert with the private sector. That is why I have said that we are going to establish a division of information and technology, which will at the end of the day open up employment opportunities for our people, but most importantly ensure that we can move to a paperless Tobago House of Assembly. It pains me as a secretary in a division when I see the amount of paperwork and the to and fro and come back tomorrow and next week for people and Tobagonians to access services from the divisions. So you should be able to stay at home and make an appointment to see a doctor in the Tobago Regional Health Authority. That is where we want to take Tobago. You should be at home here in the village of Cadler Hall in Scarborough and be able to access services from the Division of Community Development and Culture or even Enterprise and Business Labor without moving a muscle as much as to come to Scarborough. This is where we want to take Tobago. We are not about personal agendas at the end of the day. We are not about fighting for office in terms of who would be chief secretary and who would not be chief secretary. We are about ensuring that we have a vision for you and that most importantly, we are organized in a manner that could ensure that those visions, or the vision rather, is implemented. And so within 6 months of being elected to manage the affairs of this island, we will ensure that we start to distribute lands to you, and we are going to work in concert with the private sector to ensure. I know that there are some private sector persons who have been cutting up land and putting in the infrastructure, and we are going to call them around the table and to discuss an arrangement so that we can start to distribute lands that we will purchase from them within a very short period of time. We have a plan of action on this side. Within a period of 6 months, we are going to activate some of these ideas, some of the plans, some of the vision that we have for you. 10 scholarships we will be offering on a yearly basis. And it starts off in the first instance with specialist medical officers, with animators, with environmental technicians and managers, because we're talking about an environmentally friendly Tobago. We are about ensuring that we monetize our culture. We have been saying it, we have been talking it for the longest while. Tobago is rich in culture. Tobago can dance the PK. Tobago can dance the jig. Tobago could export its culture. We have been talking the talk, and now it's time to ensure that we put our mouth where our money is. We have also been talking about how we could build a robust tourism sector. And I have said it, and other speakers have said it. When you go to respective Caribbean islands, if you land down in Barbados, or if you land down in St. Lucia, if you land down in St. Martin, you see flights galore. So what's wrong with us in Tobago? We could do the same thing too. But we have to go out there to look for the flights because they would not just come on their own. And that is why we have to ensure that we have the product. We have to ensure that we have the accommodation. We have to ensure we have the standards. And when we have those in place, we will ensure that we attract airlines from Scandinavia and that we attract airlines from North America. I don't know if you know that the people of Scandinavia, some of the highest money spenders in terms of tourism and travel. Outside of them, you have the people you have the Asians or the Chinese, so to speak. And we have to be in a position on the heels of the development and construction and completion of the airport to go out and seek out those kind of investments so that they can come here and so that they can be beneficial to our people as well. Because we had an opportunity some time ago, but our people weren't as organized as we expected them to be. We had flights coming in from Brazil, I think it was Sao Paulo. We had flights coming in from different parts of the United Kingdom. I think it was Manchester, and there was also one coming in from Gatwick Airport, etc. We have to be in a position to get those flights back. We have to be in a position to organize our people. And this is what we are going to do as a P&M administration going forward. We spoke about finishing schools for our young people who are vocational minded. And of course, we are going to rebrand those schools what do you call it? The schools for the boys within the respective communities, the trade schools rather, and to ensure that by the time they finish their program of study at the trade school, that we twin them with capital coming from the business development unit so that they are able to go out there and set up businesses. And we're going to hold their hands until the time that we are comfortable that the businesses can survive on their own. This administration is about creating that environment where businesses can in fact thrive. I spoke to you some time before about how we are going to work with the farmers and the fishermen, how we are going to work with those people who would produce food for us, because outside of food security, we have opportunities coming in, 300 hotel rooms on our doorstep to be completed somewhere in 2024, 2025, that kind of thing. You may think that that is a long time, but the kind of preparation that we need in order to get to the point where we can produce our goods and services at an international standard, it will take time. And so those who are desirous of doing egg production, those who are desirous of planting watermelon, and all those kind of things that a hotel of that size will need, the Tobago House of Assembly, again through the Business Development Unit, will hold your hands and ensure that you have the capital that you need to drive that kind of development. And this, of course, comes on the heels of us giving out 300 acres of land. This comes on the heels of us approving recently at the Executive Council agriculture access roads so that our farmers can have the wherewithal to do the planting and the growing of livestock, as the case might be. A People's National Movement administration that cares for each and every one of you. This is what it's all about. And so when we tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that we got your back, we mean it. When we tell you that we are going to work with each and every one of you, we mean it, ladies and gentlemen. And all we ask at this point in time is for you to come out and give support to our candidates within the respective electoral district. So whether we're talking about Scarborough, Cudler Hall, we ask you, Scarborough Mount Grace, we ask you to come out and give support to Mrs. Marcelin Melville Jack. Okay. If we're talking about Roxborough Argyle, we ask you to come out and give support to Miss Nadine Stewart Phillips, who understands what representation is all about. If we're talking about Bagatelle, Bacolet, we ask you to come out and give support to our candidate, Joel Duport Jack. If we're talking about Mount St. George, Goodwood, we ask you to give our candidate, Charles Adams, that support. If we're talking about Bucco, Mount Pleasant, we have Ansel, Born Ready, Dennis. If we're talking about Golden Lane, Lekato, I may not get all of the names right, we have our candidate, Brian Thomas, there, and we ask for you to give him the support. If we're talking about Palativier, Lansamy, Speyside, we have a very young and vibrant candidate who has her own story regardless. We ask you to give her that support. If we're talking about Plymouth, Blackrock, we have Larry Paul. If we're talking about Darrell Spring, Wim Spring Garden, we ask you to give Kelvon the support. If we're talking about Goodwood, Belgarden or Belgarden Pembroke, we have Punchin Kenneth Thomas. And if we're talking about Signal Hill, Patience Hill, you have your own political leader, Tracy Davidson Celestine. And if we were to do what is right, if we were to wake up early, come the morning of December 6, 2020, for those of you, 2021, for those of you who are runners and canvassers and whatever it is, we ask of you to come out early. For those of you who are sub-agents, we ask of you to come out early because you have to bring out the people. We will provide the transport for those who don't have, whether you're physically challenged or otherwise. The People's National Movement will provide the transport for you. And so all we're asking is for you to give our support to our 15 candidates in every electoral district. And once as you do that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, farmers and fishermen, teachers, boys on the block, wherever you are, we will sing, great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. We shall and will continue to prevail. I thank you, and God richest blessings.
Team up in the West, yeah. We got this. Hey. We got this. Hey.
What more can I say, brothers and sisters? You have heard from the leader of this team, the passion, the energy, the recommitment. Signal Hill, you are in good hands. Patience Hill, you are in good hands. Tobago, you are in good hands with Tracy Davidson Celestine and the People's National Movement. And I ask you to make no mistake on December 6th. Vote the PNM to protect your future. Brothers and sisters, we have come to the end of this evening's proceedings. We have heard from all our speakers, and it is clear that the People's National Movement is the party that is required in the Tobago House of Assembly. I thank all of you for joining us this evening. Elvis would be very proud. The police would be very happy that we kept within our time. I want to thank the police, especially for always protecting and serving at our meetings. And brothers and sisters, as we go this evening, I am asking that you keep each of your candidates in prayer, that you keep your leader in prayer, and you keep this island of Tobago in prayer. And until we meet again, we would all shout, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the People's National Movement, and we shall prevail. I thank you.
Team up in the West, yeah. We got this. Hey. We got this. Hey. Hey. I cannot wait for election morning. Tell them why. Tell them why. Tell them why. And dipping down to me elbow, darling. From Space to Canaan, we making it through this moment. You are the reason. Higher than higher heights is our limit. So we ain't leaving. No one behind, we will not desert you. Come on, protect the future. I know we can do this thing, yeah. So right now, let me fix up, fix up. Come on, now let me link up, link up. Bring a friend, let me build up, build up. Till Tobago as one. Turn the country then over. The PNM army is the way that we love. Proper representation. Hey, we got this. We getting it done. We got this. We building it up. We got this. PNM. Blazing sun. We got this. This journey ain't done. We got this. We building it up. We got this. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah. So many youths in service now, that's an honor.